oversee Korean Culture Service, and I know that's a very solid attempt, but they are known as a Korean Culture and Information Service. So this is how I would write the sentence. I live in Seoul, South Korea. I used to work for the Korean Culture and Information Service, but now I work at the City Hall of Seoul. There could be many city halls in one country, so you need to make sure to have the specific city at the end. So City Hall of Seoul. All right, thank you so much for all the creative writing gestures that you guys have put up. It has been so much fun and helpful, and I'm looking forward to next week's as well. Now, moving on to our last section, last corner of the day, and it is Celebrity Tweet. Let's take a look at what celebrities have tweeted recently on their Twitter websites. Let's go to Celebrity Tweet. Our celebrity tweet today is by the one and only, the President Barack Obama of the United States. Alrighty, with no further ado, let's take a look at his tweet. This is what he had to say. As we cut what we can afford to do without, we have a responsibility to invest in areas that will have the biggest impact in our future. I know the sentence all of a sudden got really, really hard, but bear with me. Let's take it into parts and take a look at what these words really mean. As we cut what we can afford to do without, 우리에게 필요하지 않은 것을 잘라내되, we have a responsibility to invest. 우리에겐 이런 의무가 있습니다. To invest, 투자할 in areas that will have the biggest impact. 우리의 미래에게 가장 큰 좋은 영향을 줄 수 있는 area. This is where we need to invest. So the sentence altogether says, as we cut what we can afford to do without, we have a responsibility to invest in areas that will have the biggest impact in our future. Now let's take a look at some grammatical points. Can afford to or cannot afford to. What does this really mean? Now can afford to means 뭐뭐 할 여유가 있다. Can't afford to, on the other hand, says 뭐뭐 할 여유가 없다. And you need to remember that after can afford to, you need to have an infinite noun or infinite verb. I apologize, infinite verb. That's 동사 원형. So instead of saying can afford to singing, you would have to say can afford to sing. So never use an ing form following to. You have to use an infinitive verb. For example, let's take a look at I can afford to buy new house. I can afford to buy new house. So again, buy, not buying. And in the next example, please, I can't afford to waste time. I cannot afford to waste time. Again, to waste, not to wasting. You need to absolutely remember this is something that you kind of have to just memorize and get comfortable with. So this is what the sentence really had to say. Alright, that kind of wraps up what we had to say about the celebrity tweet grammatical point, and this is what one of the person would like to tweet back. And it says, we have many problems in Korea. Specific, we can't afford to investing money in the field of education. 한국말로 말하면 한국의 경우도 문제가 많습니다. 특히 교육 분야에 더 많은 투자를 할 여유가 없는 것 같습니다. So let's just quickly fix the sentence that you have created for me, and is we have. Not we are, but we have, 우리에게 있습니다. Many problems in Korea. Specific. Oh no, we have to use specifically. So specifically, we can't afford to, not ing. Afford to는 ing form이 아니라 동사 원형이 있어야 된다고 했죠. So we can't afford to invest money in the field of education. So look at the sentence again. We have many problems in Korea. Specifically, we can't afford to invest money in the field of education. Alright, so that's kind of it for all the grammatical points that I want to point out to you. And here's my personal recommendation. If President Obama were to look at my tweets and reply, this is what I would write. I think when it comes to the topic of future, education is one of the best investments one can make. what do you say, Mr. President? Or what do you think, Mr. President? It's an open-ended question that's directed towards President Obama, and hopefully, I have my fingers crossed, he will tweet back to me. Now, everything I prepared for you today is obviously a source, a data that you can utilize throughout, the week to tweet away. So do sign on and get some practicing, maybe once, twice, or thrice, I don't care, and post questions if you have any. That wraps up the entire show for today. Of course, you can sign on to ebse.co.kr and watch our show program over and over and over again until you get really, really sick and tired of me. 자, 제가 준비한 내용은 여기까지입니다, 여러분. 많이 준비하시고 많이 연습하시고 우리 다음 주에 다음 기회에 또 만나기로 해요. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. See you next time.